Welcome to the deep dive. Look, we know you need the critical info on Philippine government procurement timelines, like yesterday.
Yeah, time is definitely of the essence in this field.
So our mission today, pulling out the must-know regulatory periods, we're digging into Republic Act 12009 and the draft IRR SHIAM implementing rules and regulations from early 2025.
Correct. And it's worth remembering, the GPPB, the Government Procurement Policy Board, could still tweak those IRR details. So always good to keep an eye out.
Absolutely. But this should give you a solid framework, a kind of fast track to understanding the procurement clock.
Exactly. And honestly, whether you've done this 100 times or you're just starting out, getting these timelines right, well, it's not just about compliance. It's really about being strategic.
It really shapes the whole bidding game, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. These timelines dictate the pace.
Okay, let's dive in then. First up, bidding documents. They need to be posted at least 7 calendar days before bids are due. Seems straightforward.
It does, but that 7-day window, it's pretty critical. It's not just buffer time. It's your chance to really get into the details, spot any issues, maybe even find partners.
So proactive bidders are jumping on this immediately, not waiting till day 6.
You bet. They're likely watching for postings and doing that first read-through the moment it's up. Gives them a real head start.
Makes total sense. You need that prep time. Okay, so what about the actual submission deadline? What do you typically have to get those bids in?
Usually the cutoff is sharp, somewhere between 8:00 a.m. and 9:00 a.m. on the opening day.
And they're strict about that.
Oh, incredibly strict. That's a hard line. Submit late, even by a minute, and you're automatically disqualified. No excuses.
Ouch. Okay, so punctuality is key. Noted. Now, what if you're reading the documents and something's unclear? You have questions.
Yep, there's a process for that. It's the Request for Clarification, or RFI. Bidders need to get those in no later than 5 calendar days before the submission deadline.
5 days before. And how quickly does the procuring entity have to respond?
They have 3 calendar days from when they receive the RFI. It's a tight turnaround, honestly.
Which means you really can't wait until the last minute to ask your question.
Exactly. If you wait too long, you might not get the answer you need to put together your best bid. Risky.
Get RFIs in early. Understood. Okay, moving on, bid validity. How long do your bid and the bid security need to, stay good for?
Typically, it's 120 calendar days.
Yeah.
That's for both the bid itself and the security that backs it up, starting from the bid opening date.
120 days. That seems like quite a while.
It does, but it covers the next stages, like post-qualification and the actual contract award. It provides a necessary buffer so the whole process doesn't grind to a halt. There's sometimes an option to extend, but 120 is the standard starting point.
Okay, that makes sense. And you mentioned post-qualification. What exactly happens during that phase?
Yes. Post-qualification is basically the verification step. After the bids are open, the entity takes a closer look at the bidder who submitted the lowest calculated bid.
Checking if they can actually do the job, right?
Precisely. They have a maximum of 7 calendar days to verify all the documents, check financial and technical capabilities, make sure everything lines up with the requirements. It's about ensuring they're awarding to someone genuinely capable and compliant.
7 days for that deep check. Got it. And assuming the lowest bidder passes muster.
Then comes the notice of award, the NOA. The procuring entity has another deadline. A maximum 7 calendar days after the award recommendation is approved to issue that NOA to the winner.
The official you got it notice. Okay, 7 days for that. What's next once the winner gets the NOA?
Things move quickly then. The winning bidder have 10 calendar days from when they receive the NOA to do 2 key things: sign the contract and submit the performance security.
10 days for both.
Yes, and importantly, the contract signing usually depends on submitting that performance security. It shows you're committed and financially capable of fulfilling the contract.
Right, locking it all in. Performance security first, then sign. 10 days total. And then, finally, the project can actually start.
Almost. The last step from the procuring entity side, timeline-wise, is the notice to proceed, or NTP. They issue this within 7 calendar days after the contract is signed.
And the NTP is basically the green light.
Exactly. That's the official go-ahead. Work commences or delivery schedules kick in based on the NTP date.
Okay, we've mapped the typical happy path, but what if a bidder feels something went wrong, like they were unfairly disqualified? Is there any recourse?
Yes, there is. The process includes a way to challenge decisions. A bidder has 3 calendar days from receiving a decision they disagree with, like a disqualification, to file a motion for reconsideration or a formal protest.
3 days to object? And then?
The Bids and Awards Committee, the BAC, then has 7 calendar days to review and resolve that motion or protest. So there's a defined path for grievances, too.
Okay, good to know there's that mechanism. So listening to all this, it's quite a detailed sequence of deadlines.
It really is. And sticking to them is crucial.
So for everyone listening, what's the big takeaway here if you had to boil it down?
I'd say the key thing is that Philippine government procurement runs on a strict, legally defined clock. Understanding every single one of these periods we've discussed,
From the document posting, the RFI, submission, validity.
all the way through post-qualification, award, contract, NTP, and even protests.
Knowing them isn't just about following rules, is it?
Not at all. It's fundamental. It's about participating efficiently, effectively, and honestly, strategically. Missing a deadline can take you out of the running completely.
Absolutely. Knowing these timelines inside out, planning around them that can genuinely give you an edge.
Definitely.
So here's something for you to chew on. Considering all these tight, interconnected deadlines and response times we've talked about, what do you think are the biggest strategic advantages a really proactive supplier or bidder could carve out for themselves in this Philippine procurement landscape? Something to mull over.
That's a great question to consider.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.